place at the moment. We're in a bit of a zone, so we're going to carry on. So, can I just throw in a big word of caution here? Okay, whilst what I've said to you is important and is correct, that's what the top guys do. Don't go and ask Phyllis and Maud to start playing off this, you know, come on Phyllis, load up. Right? Okay, come on Henry, load up on your back leg. Alright, because Henry and Roger are not the same. And if we look at you guys, David, I'm going to make a slight exception because you're a fraction older than the others.
Just a touch.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. With the exception, with the greatest respect of David, you guys are all youngsters, lucky so-and-sos. All right. And you play a more, I've got to say this carefully, a slightly more modern game. All right, and again, I mean that with respect. Not a better game, a slightly more modern, a slightly different game. So there is a prevalence of semi-Western and Western grips. Most of you are on a semi-Western forehand. Okay? All right? So that means that the way that you play the shot is slightly different to somebody who might, and this isn't David, right, but somebody who might play the shot with a continental forehand. And the difference, I'm not going to go into a great deal, but the difference in a nutshell is that a semi-Western and a Western forehand is based more around rotation, angular momentum, whereas a continental and an Eastern forehand is more based around linear momentum. Okay? And the reason for that is in the way that the player sets up. Okay? So my grip here on a semi-Western means that I set myself up here and I'm looking to hit balls here. Okay? That's my more comfortable height. I can hit them down here, but it's less comfortable. I'd rather have it up here. So I need to be in a position here where I can rotate to generate my pace. Okay? If I'm playing with a more continental grip, I don't want to be spinning around up here. I need something which is lower and where I can transfer my weight through from back to front. So there's less rotation and more turning. Do you see that? Okay, rotation here, turning from here to here, and then weight transfer. Okay, so whilst you might be right to say to Nick, for example, load up, get your right foot behind the ball, that's because Nick plays the way the game, he plays the game the way that Nick does. If we take Henry, whoever Henry is, age 66, all right, and he plays the game like this, then it wouldn't help Henry to be told repeatedly to load up on his right foot because he plays the game differently. So the right teaching point for Henry might be the ready position, turn, transfer the weight.
Do you still not say get your right leg behind the ball though?
You could, but it means something different. Yeah, you could do, but you're not going to load up on it in the same way. Right? So it's still, hang on. So it's still a good teaching point to say get your right leg behind the ball, but don't expect him to rotate into it in the same way. So it'd be more about getting the right leg into it so that he can then push and go forwards. But that all presupposes that the ball's out in front of him. Okay, so his receiving skills have got to be good. So yes, it's the same, but it's not about rotating. It's about going from back to front. And when in 2 weeks' time you see a lot of our adults come, you'll see them relying a lot more on trying to get forwards. Actually, a lot of them you'll see they'll play from here. So one great teaching point would be to actually see the ball, pick the direction, turn, and go. Yeah? So we've got to be careful, although the idea, as Nick rightly said, is the same to get lined up behind the ball, we're doing it for different reasons. Okay? So what I'd like you to do now, you're going to feel distinctly uncomfortable with this. I'd like you to go and play some continental forehands. I don't want to see any open or semi-open stances. I want to see you closing the stance off. So let's just be clear on what we're talking about here, okay? Because you do see different things in different things that you read, okay? Open stance, it basically means pretty much facing the court, okay? We might have slight degrees of but that's about there. We're still talking about an open stance. So playing the forehand here off an open stance. Okay? Semi-open would be when we get to this sort of position here. The left foot's still to the left, the right foot is still to the right. If we had an imaginary line there, the left foot is still to the left of this line. Okay? Semi-open. Right? And we play from here quite happily all day. And in fact, you see Federer on that photo there, semi-open stance. Very natural. Right foot behind the ball. This foot starts to come to here, we start to get into the realms of a closed stance. Not wrong, just different. Okay? And it's quite possible to play a very good game of tennis pretty much off a closed stance. Even good players will close the stance off at times. On a short ball, for example, they might well close the stance off a little bit more. Okay? On a short ball on the backhand, a slightly shorter ball here, I might well go boom and then close the stance off a little bit. Not wrong, just different. Becomes a problem when the foot starts to cross this line and go to here. As long as the left foot is to the left, I can still rotate my hips. When the left foot starts to come in line, that hip turn's starting to go. When the left foot crosses the line, it's gone, because my left leg is in front of my right leg. So we can't ask players who close off the stance to rotate until we've freed up that leg. And you'll see a lot of your players, right, kids and adults, when the ball's coming over here, they'll just go with a big, right, and I'll end up here. And the only course of action then is, because I can't use my body, it's just to use my arms more. The solution is not to reduce what I'm doing with my arms, the solution is to sort out things from the ground up. Okay? So I really want you to be disciplined here. Okay? I really want you to be disciplined. I want you to get rid of your semi-western grips. I want you to go to a continental grip. I want you to feed the ball fairly slowly. And I'd like you to get into more closed stances and just have a feel of what that is like.